Morning Star by Pierce Brown. This is 518 pages and 65 chapters. This is the third book in the Red Rising series. Quick summary: it was a prison break, a space rebellion against the reigning monarchy called the Sovereign, and that really sums it up. There was lots of little details here and there, but this is the final chapter of the trilogy. There are more books, but this is the closing of the trilogy. So, we expanded past Earth. People live on all of the planets of the solar system, and there's a steep hierarchy. Golds are at the top, Obsidians, silver, orange, blue, and red at the bottom. So the main character, grew up a red and underwent reconstructive surgery to be a gold. Went through their institute training program in the first book, survived, became a superstar. Second book went through the academy to learn how to do space flights. So the institute was like individuals, the academy was like spaceships and fleets, and then now this one. So the second book left off where the main character was poisoned and about to die. So like, what's gonna happen? Of course, that immediately makes you want to pick up the third book to see what's up. He's in prison. So the opening scene is a prison break with 2 grays and 2 golds. And the grays are kind of like military police. And it was a really interesting scene in that there were some dynamics. The main character had never met either of these 2 grays before. And, here they are trying to bust him out. And he goes and says, "I'm not leaving Victra behind." So it's like, he's asking them to sacrifice their lives, not just for him, which was the original goal, but for another gold who they don't know, who's also in the prison. So, imprisoned by the Jackal, we learn more about the intricacies of the actual rebellion. The Red Rising Rebellion, there's kind of like the low colors group, and then there's like the high colors group. And we get to see a little bit of both. And of course there's like the darkest, or it gets brightest, darkest before the dawn or something like that. Anyways, we find out Quicksilver is an enemy, and so they go to raid the Quicksilver business and then find out he's an ally. So that was kind of cool. That was an interesting turn of events. The Obsidians live on Mars's pole. They are the only color to attempt an uprising in the past, and so are hobbled or punished. I don't know how to say it, but they're limited in that, they have constant guard. Golds are constantly monitoring them and like keep them low on technology. They're not allowed to use the razors or any super weapons or anything like that. And so they're kind of, these brutal super soldiers, but low on technology. And we get to meet Ragnar's sister and mother. He was my favorite character. He's still pretty awesome. Good things, hopefully. Good things come to favorite characters, right? Right? Am I right? Yeah. So Mustang gets to meet the family. That was cool. That was a really good scene. I don't like guessing what's going to happen. Like, I hate trying to predict with books, which, I don't know, being human, that it just kind of happens when you're not reading the book. You kind of think about it a little bit. But it was kind of like a slap in the face. Like, I think they mentioned 9 months, like 7 or 8 times the author did. So, like, it's kind of hard to ignore that 9 months. And, being in prison for 9 months and over again. So of course, we all know what 9 months means. And, that was a rather an easy guess, I guess, but also an enjoyable one. The Moonlords come into play. So these are the leaders of Saturn and Jupiter. There's plenty of moons out there, and they're called the Moonlords. They're out by the gas giants. So, in order to take on the Sovereign, The main character has to win their allegiance or ally with them in order to take on the fleet. There, of course, is the feint going to Mars and the moon, right? Like the seat of the sovereign is in the moon. And of course, everything that he cares about is at Mars. So everybody thinks he's going to Mars, goes to the moon, double feint. It's quite the story. But there's a lot of fun parts. I liked the crankshaft pit viper. That was fun. Let's see. I enjoyed Mustang meeting the family. That was fun. Talked about the 9 months and how I got it right. The Moonlords deal was really interesting in that it cost quite a bit. Like the main character was willing to give up multiple planets to make this deal happen, or at least the people on those planets. And so that made it really worthwhile. It made it a big deal. Like, this is important. And it did work out in a way. But yeah, so that was an interesting angle. I liked the carving. Servo got the carving, got the eyeballs. But also, I really liked that his method was, I'm going to hit it and I'm going to hit it hard, right? He kicked butt in the Institute as the wolf pack or the howlers. And really, that's what he is good at and known for, is like being the hammer, like getting into a weird situation, hitting it hard, getting out, like being the strike force, right? That was what he was good at. And so when we discovered Ares, and then Ares is dead, and now Servo takes the role, so it's like, is he a leader or is he just going to hit everything hard? So that was cool. I liked that perspective and that character. The claw drills, that was so much fun. That was a fun scene. True to the character, see who he is, who he was, who he's becoming. It all kind of bundled together. Let's just drill into their ship. That was super, super cool. That was a fun scene. I enjoyed the ending. I won't give it away, but I did enjoy it. It was a nice wrap up to the 3 books. I actually stopped reading at the trilogy, believe it or not. I didn't go on to the 4th and 5th book because it was such a good ending. I was like, I'm just going to enjoy it. Yeah, so I disliked the Warheads angle. Like, he had to use it for leverage in a deal, but also I feel like even if you're like a crazy like bad guy, I still feel like you want to have something at the end. Like, if you just nuke everything, like, I don't know. I've always wondered, like, even I get it, like Mad Men, right? They're insane, like they don't care what it costs, but I still feel like there should be something at the end. Like, if you want to be ruler, maybe he didn't care about that. He just wanted to watch the world burn. I get it. It just didn't sit right with me. The Ganymede docks, the main character made it appear that it was the Sovereign and their forces doing that. That was a tough one. I see the necessity and, again, the cost and playing ahead to future books and all that stuff, but man, that was rough. Like, inflicting damage on your own people, losing, to win the war, like, that's rough. So the switching sides, you're constantly like, is Mustang on our side? Is Mustang not on the main character's side? Just the thought of people switching, there was a lot of that. And I get that it's like a political and they're supposed to be dynamic, but man, I think I had whiplash once or twice thinking like who's on whose side and all that stuff. So this book was very different from the first two. The first two, it was almost like the main character was like, I'm the hero, I'm going to take on the burdens, I'm going to do it all. Here, it was like he tried to do that, but he needed others. And there was a transition in the second book, but this one, it was in the writing too. The author admits in the afterword that this book is so different from the other two and that he couldn't write in the same place. He needed to approach the whole story differently and tie it together as a group instead of just, I'm the solo hero, I'm going to go it alone. So There was loss, there was friendship, there was togetherness, there was delegation, there was leadership. It was an alliance more than just a solo go it alone Red Rising. It was a group effort. So this was a great ending to the trilogy. If you've tried Red Rising, go for it. If you haven't yet, do Red Rising first and then this one. And remember, buy your books used.